We are slaying monsters.
Don't let the ghosts and the ghouls disturb you, darling.
Whoever would have thought that the ultimate disclosure of all that goes on inside the Pentagon was going to be broken, not by an insider and not by like a whistleblower or anything like that, but by a Domino's delivery driver. Because this right, Katie, you brought this up, that you can tell if the Pentagon is like heads down, major things are going on because of how much pizza is being ordered at the time, right?
Yeah. So this was in The Guardian. I'm going to pull up the article so that I get this right. But there's a website that tracks pizza deliveries. And apparently there are no pizza restaurants in the Pentagon complex. So when people at the Pentagon work late, the pizza delivery orders to the Pentagon at the two pizza places, I think one or two of them are Domino's, near the Pentagon, spike. And the other thing they said is that there's low traffic at gay bars near the Pentagon too, because people don't leave work and go out for drinks.
That's my favorite part.
That is my favorite part, yes. So the solution is put a gay pizza bar in the Pentagon.
Obviously, yeah. Yeah, that's what you need.
I know. We were texting about this, and I did say, like, the Pentagon's going to get a pizza place now to stop these leaks, but probably not. It's probably not a priority. But the reason we brought this up, and we'll get this into our first little news item today, is because, like, this is why there are not secrets. Like, because you have, it's not just the actual story that's there. It's like all of the data, the surrounding world around it. Like, if people are going to work late, they need pizza. And so then they have pizza. And then you're like, why are 17 million pizzas going to the Pentagon at 10 p.m. on a Thursday night? I guess people are staying up late. What's going to happen? Which is basically what The Guardian is saying. The conclusion is you can draw from this.
Yeah.
It's a fact of life. People need pizza.
It's true.
It's brain food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Oh, we're slaying monsters. Oh, yeah, we got to introduce ourselves, don't we?
A little bit,
You
yeah.
give me this look like, go ahead. I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Okay, yes, we are slaying monsters. We got Maddie J here.
Yo.
And we have Katie.
Hello.
And I'm EJ, and we are going to talk about June and what happened in June.
Yeah, it's time for our Fortean Roundup for June. And, I mean, we're about to go into summer, and we're going to kick it off with a little news story about some governmental disinformation that broke this month. This was really cool because this is something that we've been talking about here for quite a while. This comes from a New York Post article that I found, that, and also specifically from a Wall Street Journal article that made the rounds this month and sparked some pretty interesting and sometimes aggressive opinions from the community. So the Pentagon has apparently been using UFOs as a cover for classified weapons testing. The journalists of this article, Joel Schechtman and Aruna Viswanatha, interviewed 24 current and former U.S. officials, scientists, contractors. They reviewed thousands of pages of documents, and they concluded that the U.S. military was engaged in a decades-long disinformation campaign that used UFO sightings and reports to essentially muddy the waters surrounding very real weapons and aircraft testing throughout the last, 70 years, basically since World War II.
I have a question.
Yeah.
We are aware of the Mirage Men.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And when you say Mirage Men, I use this phrase a lot, but Mirage Men was the name that was coined by a documentarian who was reporting on the beginnings of Area 51. And there was a there was a very specific disinformation campaign that was conducted against an individual. Paul Benowitz was his name. Paul Benowitz was really the foundation of a lot of the Area 51 mythology. But the allegation is that that was all fed to him by an individual named Rick Dottie, who was working for the government and realized that it would be very useful to convince him that they were aliens that they were working on in the bases, not the B-2 bomber.
Yeah, and I guess as long as, espionage and counterintelligence stuff has been in existence, we have had things like disinformation and false information, things to just pass along that are not real.
Yeah.
And so I guess my question is, we know the Mirage Men was a thing that happened. How this is news to a lot of people, but I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be big breaking news, because if we follow that there was a misinformation campaign in the 50s, it only stands to reason that there was one from then on all throughout our modern times. I don't know. This is my thinking, but it seems like it's common sense to assume that this has been happening instead of actual alien visitation.
Yeah.
That's all.
Those were my exact thoughts, EJ. And I feel like we have talked about this a lot, that it's very likely that this is what was happening. I did not know about the Mirage Men. But if you think about it, it's common sense low lift for the military to use something that they already know is in the popular culture, that people already believe, to build up secrecy around things they need to keep secret. It's easy. They don't even have to invent something new. People can just move on. And I mean, does it feel a little mean and gaslighty that they did this to military soldiers and led them to believe that they had seen something really insane for their whole lives? Yes, that part feels mean. But otherwise, I just think it makes a lot of sense. I'm not surprised at all.
I think sometimes there's the possibility that you go too far with some of these individuals too. Paul Benowitz's life ended in a very, very kind of tragic way. He was accusing his wife of being controlled by extraterrestrials. I mean, they really pushed him off the deep end. They pushed him about as far as you could possibly push an individual. So, he's not... disinformation, I think it's a important tool that the government uses, and I think it's important for us to be aware of it. I don't know that I can actually fall on either side of the argument and say that it's good or bad. It was just a thing that we did, and that I think we should assume is continuing to happen. And yeah, I mean, it made perfect sense. You muddy the waters, you make it so nobody knows what's real and what's not. You make it so our opponents don't know what technology we have and we don't. And this, I'm talking about the communists at the time, and now, whoever we happen to be at war with. But it was important then, and I think it's still very important now. I think that this article is on our Fortean, not only because it came out recently, but also because I think this is a great rebuttal to the UFO reporting of the last 5 years or so, and all this alleged disclosure that's coming out that was probably more mundane than a lot of people want to believe.
Yeah, it's a very important thing to bring up, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's disclosure in its own right? That that this program was going on, this disinformation program, internal disinformation program. I mean, I think there were so many layers to this. I'll say one thing, and then I want to talk about one of the events that they talk about in the articles. But the two layers, it's not only disinformation to the public about what's going on at Area 51, just top secret weapons testing, not aliens, but also the disinformation amongst the different departments, keeping people in the dark, making sure not everyone knows. And I feel like we've talked at length about this, about how these different rumors happen, because people don't know. People know the little part that they need to know, and they are not told anything else on purpose, right? Or they're misled when they do know little bits of other things. It's strategic. But the second piece that I thought was truly wild was that 80s encounter at the nuclear missile silo where all of the soldiers there saw this bright orange light hovering over the missile silo, and it took down our nuclear weapons at the site. They were all told it was an alien, and it wasn't. Our military was literally testing to see if we had a weakness, and we did. And so they were like, no one can know this. You saw an alien. Don't tell anyone. Those poor people. I feel like Paul Benowitz, is that his name?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I feel like that is a heavy, heavy thing to put on people. And while there's a part of my brain that understands that they were the Soviets can absolutely not know that our nuclear weapons at the time would have been taken down in a first strike, to tell these young guys who then for the rest of their lives think that they encountered some alien technology, that's a little mean.
Yeah. Weren't these men in the military too that they lied to? These were fellow servicemen, right?
Yeah, let's talk about this story because this is a fascinating story. We've talked about the Malmstrom event on the show before, but as a quick recap, allegedly aliens shut down a nuclear missile site. That's the short version. Happened at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana. Allegedly on March 24th, 1967. The base was buzzed by this red-orange UFO. Multiple witnesses saw it in the sky. Then suddenly, the missiles in their Oscar flight group began going offline one by one. The story comes from Air Force Captain Robert Salas, who has been telling it for decades at this point. Now, we have long known that the red-orange UFO was actually Mars. That was proven back in 2014 by Robert Schaefer on his Bad UFOs blog. Schaefer backtraced the orbit of the sun and Mars and concluded that Mars was in the brightest part of its orbit at that time of the year. So that's what they saw as the ball of light in the sky. It just so happens that coincided with this other test that was being conducted at the time. Now, for a while, everybody kind of thought this was misreporting. Historian Bernard Nolte, who had access to classified information regarding the ICBM and Minuteman missile program, never mentioned anything going offline at Malmstrom. And crew commander Frank Mewald, who was on duty that day, remembers seeing Mars, but he doesn't remember the missiles being deactivated. So for a long time, everybody was just kind of that's an unverified claim. But Sean Kirkpatrick, who is the head of the All-Domain Anomaly Research Office, or AARO, the former head of AARO, he reports that the real reason the missiles were deactivated was that it was a stress test for the bunker's missile control systems. We were under the threat of the Soviets, strikes, danger from that side, and so the U.S. military became very concerned that their facilities wouldn't withstand a bombing. So they developed a very high-tech electromagnetic pulse generator that would mimic the EMP waves created by a nuclear detonation. And they tested it on Malmstrom Air Force Base. And guess what? It failed. The missile control system went offline. But you don't really want that to get out, especially not to the Soviets. And so the entire thing was dressed up as a UFO story and buried.
And they lied to the servicemen that saw I guess what they saw Mars, right. And they heard that the missiles went offline. I don't know if they lied, because the U.S. government would never come out and just be like, hey, you saw a UFO, don't talk about it. Well,
I feel like maybe I misread the article, but two things. One, I felt like that's what Robert Salas was saying, is that the U.S. government told him he saw a UFO, don't talk about it. And then the second thing is that it's probably true that Mars was there too. Obviously, this guy did the research and like aligned it. But like, I thought it said in the Wall Street Journal article that this test that like the pulses could create a bright orange light. So like that they might have actually seen a bright orange light from the stress test also. Maybe I misread, but it doesn't matter either way. What matters is that like this was not an alien. They were stress testing the missiles and the missile system, and also Mars was bright. Nobody saw aliens is the major point here, but they were all informed that they had seen aliens.
It does say in the article, when activated, this device placed on a platform would gather power until it glowed, sometimes with a blinding orange light. And it would then fire a burst of energy that could resemble lightning. So it is possible. I mean, it's possible. It's possible that that also just happened to be the time of Mars orbit. That, honestly, I seem to remember reports of the craft moving. So it maybe they saw the orange pulse and then they saw Mars and they thought that it was the same craft moving around. That would make a lot of sense. Yeah.
And our brains want to create stories, so they just
Totally.
like put it all together. But I mean, either way, I think the point we're talking about is like that whoever told it to them, that these people that were working, these service members that were working, saw and experienced something strange and troubling, and then were told by, whether explicitly or implicitly by like their commanding officers, like, this was aliens, don't tell anyone.
Well, and another part of this article, they talked about what Sean Kirkpatrick actually calls a hazing ritual that would go on inside some of these departments, where basically what would happen is the top Air Force brass would hand out pictures of UFOs at briefings and call them anti-gravity vehicles. And they would say that they were part of this program called Yankee Blue, and they were in the process of reverse engineering these crafts. But they were using it as a loyalty test, trying to see if the people that saw these pictures would then leak the information, or if you could trust those people with these classified secrets. And so, like, that might have been something that Salas went through too, where they're like, well, don't talk about this. Don't talk about what you saw. It might have been an extraterrestrial. And then they waited to see if he talked about it or not.
It's very strategic to lie to your own service members. I feel like it's one thing to lie to the public, to play that game with Paul Benowitz. But it's another thing to have it be an internal thing.
And like, maybe they assumed that it would get around, you know, that like those were fake. They do that to everyone. But clearly it didn't. And also the thing that's funny to me is that like, if you're doing this though to a lot of people, like, does it even really work as a loyalty test? Because like, if someone goes out and says, oh man, I've seen some shit. Who said it? The guy you hazed yesterday or the guy you hazed 10 years ago? Which guy of the 100 people you hazed yesterday in your orientation briefing, you know? Like,
right. You know, I think that sometimes that's just to make the waters as muddy as possible, though. You know, that way nobody knows what's actually going on. And I know during the Cold War, at least my assumption is that also during the Cold War, when we were recovering crafts, we didn't want people to know if they were Soviet or if they were ours, because that was a big deal. Like, we didn't want that information to get out. If we actually did shoot down a Soviet spy plane or something like that, you might not want the Soviets to know that we had possession of that technology. Therefore, it's easier to be like, oh, was an alien spacecraft.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me wonders how much of this is, though, like high-level people in the military hazing or fucking with low-level people in the military, in the Air Force, whatever, just for fun. Not, I
Could
mean,
be.
take aside from the whole disinformation and actual, like, the campaign that there could be, this could just be people fucking with people and it really getting out and causing problems.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely could be. Yeah.
Like, it's kind of both, right? Like,
Could be.
They get to fuck with people, and then, like, if it has a side benefit of, like Matt said, like, continuing to muddy the waters and, like, help the disinformation campaign, then so be it.
You let it keep happening, right? Because there's nothing to lose. There's no reason to punish these people for fucking with their fellow officers or subordinates.
I think that the bad thing that happens is you get people that spend their whole lives believing that aliens are real. And the unfortunate aspect is that when a military officer comes forward, whatever branch they're in, and says to the public, I work in the military, I have proof that aliens are real, but really they've been hazed this whole time or disinformed this whole time. That's when it's dangerous, when it comes from authority.
Yeah, well, then you get people who are like Lou Elizondo, who have been entrenched in the DoD for years and think that there's legitimacy in what they have, but there's actually not.
Yeah, and when you couple that with the fact that we systematically play war games with each other, like the military plays war games.
From our last Fortean.
Our last Fortean, we talked about that. And there's a decades-long disinformation campaign. Again, what's more likely, these two things combining and causing mayhem, or aliens are visiting.
And this is the only evidence we have of it. Which gets back to our original point, which is, do you really think that aliens are visiting and we're getting these small, tiny little shreds of evidence and there's no, like, Pentagon pizza parties for the aliens? You know, like there would be other breadcrumbs if there was something here, right?
Yes, there would be.
Riffing off of that, for example, if there really was some giant alien thing at Roswell in the 50s, let's just take that big story, that classic story as an example. Do we really fucking think that there would not have been like a fucking swarm of like activity there right after that happened? Like, are you fucking kidding me? We would have gone nuts. Absolutely nuts. It wouldn't have been, ooh, let's just hide this under the ground. It would have been like, holy shit, there are aliens here. Like, we need everything in our arsenal surrounding Roswell to make sure that, like, nothing bad is going to happen. Like, I just feel like I'm making this up, but I just feel like the reaction would not have been like, oop, we just sent a few little people over there. Or maybe it would have been done in secret, but I feel like at this point, there would have been something else. Like, oh, it's really odd that, like, what's the word I'm looking for? They like swelled personnel at Roswell right after that, you know? Like, there would be in the record, like, something that happened, I feel like, that we would have found.
The counterpoint to that, and I know that this is the ufologist counterpoint, is you want less people because less people have less chance of leaking. So you only want your most trusted specialists to do it.
Mm-hmm. You got us there. You got us.
Checkmate. But I don't think that's real, though. Like, I mean, you are going to bring in scientists. You're going to bring in engineers. You have to bring in all of these people. And, like, you really think we're reverse engineering crafts and there's, like, 6 people that are doing it and they're not talking about it? And instead we have, like, fucking Bob Lazar, who's a moron who shows up and is like, I worked on the craft. Like, it's not real.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I also just think, like, and I know what I'm about to say is actually probably a little bit naive, but I also just think that, like, yes, people high up in governments, and especially CIA, FBI, intelligence community, they know crazy shit. I am sure that there are people in the intelligence community that know absolutely bonkers shit that they have never told anyone because that is their job and that is what they are trained to do. I just think at the end of the day, our political leaders are people. They are not trained members of the intelligence community. Mm-hmm. And if there was an alien, somebody would have flipped their shit Like, that's all that I think. That's just like, maybe that's overly simplistic and naive, but like, I just think like somebody would have flipped out. Like, there would have been a bigger activity around it.
It does speak to a very sort of mid-century approach to our politicians and our political leaders, where we think that they're more bastions of common sense and decency and intelligence, whereas now we know that our political leaders they run the gamut of humanity. They're kind of a cross-section of all humanity. You have people who are very intelligent, very calm and collected, and then you have absolute morons. and everybody in between.
Well, I also just think that it's not possible that it exists, because either they're keeping this information from our current president, and because I know for a fact he's asked to see it, because he's been public about the fact that he's asked to see it. Yeah. They either didn't show it to him and said, oh, it doesn't exist. Because if they had showed it to him, we would know.
Yeah, we would know.
That man cannot keep a secret if his life depends on it. The reason he has not spilled more state secrets is because he does not read his daily briefings, or if he even gets them. Like, that is just the long and the short of it.
Yep.
I also think that there are some internal heroes in there that are just not telling him things, that's just really saving national security. They're just keeping things from him.
I think it's that he doesn't fucking read. He doesn't read. He's probably been given so much shit, and if he had the attention span of like not a gnat, we would be in serious trouble.
Obama asked to see the aliens when he got into office, and I actually have his quote here somewhere. Okay. This is what Obama said in a 2015 GQ magazine interview. I got to tell you, it's a little disappointing. People always ask me about Roswell and aliens and the UFOs, and it turns out that the stuff going on that's top secret isn't nearly as exciting as you expect. In this day and age, it's not as top secret as you'd think. Mm-hmm. I think that's probably what it was, and that's exactly what Trump found out, and he lost interest immediately.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah, it's not sparkly enough. So
now I will say, the diehard UFO community has come out in response against this Wall Street Journal article, and has claimed that the reporting itself is a psyop designed to keep the truth about UFOs obfuscated.
Everything's a psyop.
Mm-hmm. Turtles all the way down.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so you just move that goalpost a little bit more. This is the funny thing, is that anything that doesn't immediately fit with their worldview, that aliens are real and they've been coming to Earth for hundreds of or thousands of years, is immediately just like, oh, that's a psyop. You can't trust it. Can't trust anything Sean Kirkpatrick says.
Yeah. That's some serious Kool-Aid drinking right there.
Right.
It's Occam's razor, people. Mm-hmm. If you have to get increasingly complex with your explanations in order to make it make sense, you're probably not on the right path.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, this isn't quite Occam's razor, but I feel like there should be a little like rider to Occam's razor too, which is the more people you have to add to a secret in order to keep the secret, the less secret the secret's going to be. You know, the more people you add when you're trying to keep something concealed, the more likely there's actually going to be a leak of some kind.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, going back decades, you can only assume. I mean, as a ufologist, I would say there have been leaks. There have been people telling the truth and coming out and saying what's happened. You just don't believe them.
But it's only ever ended with like really blurry pictures or easily debunked videos or eyewitness reports. It's not, no one has a thing. Nobody has a legitimate picture of an alien that we can all be like, whoa, okay. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows what that is. Nobody has an alien finger bone, nothing, there's nothing. And it would be more than just America.
You're right.
It would be China. It would be Russia. It would be the UK. It would be Germany. Like anybody, if it was this commonplace.
No, you're right. That's like an angle about it that I've never thought of, because obviously we do have alien movies where it's the whole world and the whole world's coming together. But like, especially in the US, when we think about these claims, like they're so US centric. And there are international stories. We've talked about them on this podcast. But like, don't you think it's not just the US government that's hiding things from you? If there were aliens, you'd have like a UN task force on extraterrestrial activity, and like there would be collaboration, and like those people would be leaking too. But we don't get documents from like the UN task force on alien invasion. We only get them from like the US government. So yeah, I think that's a really good point too. There would be larger collaboration that we've just no one's even bothered to put into the mythology about it.
Although, spoiler alert, on our next Die Glocke episode, we are going to talk about the fascist UFO files and the alleged crash in Italy and all the leaks surrounding that.
Don't order pizza at the Pentagon anymore, y'all. We're all watching.
Yeah.
That's the takeaway.
Yep. Time to install a pizza joint
And a gay
inside
bar.
the Pentagon. Yes.
Colorado Bigfoot. Ready?
Oh, I don't know if I'm ever ready for a Colorado Bigfoot.
I know.
Yeah, in our Squatchy news this month, we have a new Bigfoot sighting out of Colorado. This is a video that was released on X or Twitter that shows a light brown biped crouching behind some trees and then shuffling off. The video was allegedly shot by a Colorado tour guide named Logan Kirk while on a whitewater rafting trip May 24th. One of his guests thought that they saw a bear, and as soon as he saw it, he became convinced that it was not a bear, it was something else. We only have his testimony. None of the tour group has come forward, at least as far as I'm aware. He does intend to go back and look for tracks, but he admitted that the area is rocky, so it might be impossible to find any prints. And I mean, sometimes we see these things and you're like, well, that's just a blurry spot, whatever. I mean, this video, I guess it kind of looks like a Sasquatch, but it's really hard to tell if it's real or if it's a hoax. To me, it kind of looks like the creature is wearing a wide-brimmed hat. And I know other investigators have debated whether it's actually a Smokey the Bear costume.
That's funny.
I don't know if you sent that one to me or if you did. I just missed it in the mess of things. Can you send it to me real quick? And I want to look at the video again. I think I know the one you're talking about, but...
You do. While you watch it live, like I will say, to me, it definitely looked like someone in a costume. I also read like the first comment on the article, and the person was like, "Why in 2025 do all Sasquatch videos look like they were shot in an iPhone 3?" Which I thought was like so funny, because it's kind of true, right? It's like, and to be fair, no matter how good your phone camera, at a certain point, if you're too far away and zooming in too much, it's going to be pixelated, like beyond repair.
Yeah, that's my guess. Yeah.
But to me, it just looked like either a costume or just because of the distance, it like was a bear, and it just looked like it was moving weirdly because of the way it was situated in the trees or whatever. Also, like bears can stand up on their hind legs. To me, it was very obviously like a costume or perhaps a bear. Yeah, EJ, what do you think now that you watched it? Live reaction.
Y'all. Yeah, I have a really visceral reaction to this. Yeah, it's a person in a costume.
Why do you think that? You are convinced, EJ?
I'm convinced.
Why? Why do you think that?
The movements are human.
Okay.
They're not animal. We're all animals, aren't we? But it pivots like a person. It crouches like a person. It looks around the tree like a person. It moves the branch down like a person. It is slow like a person. And then it gets a little quicker like a person. That's all very, I mean, and I know we say, oh yeah, Bigfoot, apes, we're apes, whatever.
Right.
I've never seen a Bigfoot. I don't know what a Bigfoot really behaves like, because they're not real. But it doesn't lumber like a bear. it doesn't seem heavy like a bear. When a bear moves, I mean, bears can be graceful, but they also move with a significant amount of weight. And this person in a costume does not carry a significant amount of weight. I mean, I would bet thousands of dollars on the fact that this is a hoax. This is somebody in a costume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think your point about the weight is good too, because even if it was, let's just say, a Bigfoot, Bigfoots are gigantics. Like, if you take the mythology or whatever, they're relatives of apes or some kind of other ape-like creature, they would be very heavy. And whatever is moving in the video does not move in a way that a heavy person moves. It doesn't even move in the way that, like, Shaq moves. Let's take, for example, a very large human that exists in the world. Like, it's this person, because I agree with you, EJ. It's like, just doing its little thing, doing its person thing in a costume. So
I just looked up the average orangutan weighs around, well, females are 82 pounds, males are around 170 pounds.
Sure,
So
but they're not tall like people.
But you would expect them to have like that sort of big bulkiness to them that this figure doesn't really have, right? Because a Bigfoot is taller than an orangutan too.
Yeah,
supposed to be. Orangutans are only 4.5 feet tall. They're shorter than people.
Right, and I would push back on that a little bit. Just the fact that, like, orangutans, I don't know how to say that fucking word. In general, they weigh less than us. Like, the female weighs less than our version of a female, and the males weigh about the same to a little less.
But they're also a good foot shorter than everybody.
They're shorter, but
more.
they're very graceful. I feel like they have evolved to be graceful, to move in trees despite their stature and weight distribution. Like, they're just very graceful beings. I would imagine a Bigfoot being very graceful in its natural environment. This creature that I just saw is graceful on a human level in an environment that it does not belong in. It acts like I would act moving around trees. I didn't grow up in the woods, literally. Like, I don't know. I'm not from a society that is of the woods, you know? I just think that this creature is moving around like somebody who was born in a village somewhere around other human beings interacting. It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't add up.
Yeah.
I think that this guy is trying to drum up business. This is my new theory. This guy's trying to drum up business for his Colorado tours, and he and his buddy made a Sasquatch video, and he says he was on a tour, but none of the other tour guides none of the other tour participants are coming forward, which to me means that it's either like a talk track that he somehow put in the video, or it's like his friends that are with him also pretending to see a Bigfoot. But of course, none of them are going to come forward because they were creating a hoax video to drum up business for his Colorado tour business.
On that point, I will say what struck me about this video was the coloration of the Bigfoot, because a lot of times you don't see these light tan Sasquatch.
Right.
Like, the Sasquatch that you see is very much based off the Patterson-Gimlin footage. It's dark brown. So a light tan Sasquatch is very unique. Now, I have seen a light tan Sasquatch before. It was a video that was shot from a train, also in Colorado. This was a couple of years ago now. Same light brown coloration, same basic build. And that was allegedly filmed in Durango, Colorado. The train footage ended up being linked to the Sasquatch Outpost, which was a museum and escape room in Bailey, Colorado. They were using that as publicity for their business. So there's already precedent for this exact thing to have happened before. This could even be, again, a promotion of the Sasquatch Outpost and maybe tours that they give looking for Sasquatches. I don't know.
Very well, it could be. Yeah.
I mean, I think we're all in agreement here that this is not believable.
That didn't move any needles here at Slaying Monsters.
No, I mean, it would take a lot to move a needle for me, but like I at least would like a more believable hoax. Like I at least want to be like, oh, that was good. Like the OG Sasquatch video.
Patterson
like,
Gimlin. Yep.
Yeah. I don't think that's real, but I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I respect the effort.
Man, one of these days we're gonna do a very, very long. It's gonna be like 10 parts, y'all. But we are gonna do a long deep dive into that because that's a fascinating video, and the making of it is fascinating, and just and the debate that still goes on. The people who like watch that video and swear that you can see the muscles moving under the skin and all of the stuff. Yeah.
Though that's an important thing that you brought up, I think, because I can't stop watching this video. The way that the Patterson Gimlin Bigfoot moved its arms was really admirable. Like the person in the suit really chose to move like an ape on two legs. Anyway, this new video I'm watching here, you know, the arms move like a person, you know, they kind of come up to the chest. And the way that they squat like somebody kind of like fixing a campfire. Like, I don't know, there's just something very human about this. So anyway.
In our next news item, and also in what I think is a first in Fortean history, we have a cryptid-themed Airbnb opening, or has opened at this point. Located in Fayetteville, West Virginia, you can now stay at the Moth Manor, a vacation rental based on our favorite mythical animals.
I mean,
so cool.
listen, the pun is, it's good.
Moth
I
Manor
respect
is
it.
great. It's been ringing around in my head for the past couple of days. That
brilliant.
sometimes I'll just think of it and be like, Moth Manor. That's great.
That's a campy or even not campy, like horror movie.
Oh, totally, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the place looks really cool. I was on the website. And we're not an ad for this place, by the way. No,
not at all. Not affiliated with Moth Manor.
It looks like a cool place, though.
But yeah, it's a 2-bedroom rental, and the walls are just covered in pictures of cryptids, including this like lounging, vaguely sexual Bigfoot.
I need to go look because I did not click through to actually look at the place. I just read the article.
No, you have to go to the Airbnb site, like on Airbnb, and flip through the pictures so you can see this like Bigfoot's like laying down on its side. It has something that it's like covering its crotch with one hand. It's totally like the seductive Bigfoot on the wall.
See, also, what I love about this, live, y'all looking at these pictures, unfortunately, you can't also see them. But what I love about this is that you think it's going to be like, oh, cryptids covering the walls of some like cabin. This place looks like chic club, kind of.
Yeah, it's a cool looking place.
It's very cool. Whoever interior decorated this, like, you have clientele out there. You need to get yourself out into the world of interior decorating. There are people who would want you to make their house look like this.
I know. I love it. And then the little captions below the pictures for the Airbnb are very clever as well. They're very cute.
Oh my God. I just got to the sexy Sasquatch.
It's a raccoon, right?
It's a little raccoon.
Yeah, it has a raccoon that it's like stroking, that's just strategically placed in front of its crotch.
Draw me like one of your French Bigfoots.
Oh my God. And like all the stickers on the fridge, that's so
I love that.
Fun and smart. And like the purple ceiling, the little like skeleton salad spatulas over the door. Tell us more about it, Matt.
There's also a basement game room that is dubbed the Mothman Cave.
Oh, man. Yes.
So good.
Of course, West Virginia is home to Mothman. Fayetteville is about 2 hours from Point Pleasant, but the owner of the Airbnb, Nate Adams, claims that they have their own local cryptid, who has been dubbed the Garden Ground Monster. It's a hairy biped, allegedly lurks in the Monongahela National Forest. Adams described it as a Bigfoot-like wild man who stalks the New River Gorge Bridge, which again is connotations with the Silver Spring Bridge that Mothman allegedly was the harbinger of its collapse. I don't know anything about the garden ground monster. I kind of suspect that the garden ground monster doesn't actually exist in the annals of cryptozoology, and it's just something that this guy is using to drum up business for his Airbnb.
Yeah, this guy is trying to make this happen. He's trying to make fetch happen. Sorry, old reference, millennial reference. But I kind of love it. I feel like this guy is like a Doc Shields, but he's like just being very fun with it. He's just like, I have this cryptid-themed Airbnb. It's a fun little alternative place to stay in the beautiful mountains, and I'm going to make up a monster to go with it.
I want to go. I want to stay there. And now I want to explore Fayetteville, West Virginia.
I don't know anything about it.
Me neither. Like, I want to know how far it is from me right now.
Listeners in Fayetteville, write in slayingmonsterspodcast@gmail.com. Tell us what we should do in Fayetteville if we go there.
Yeah.
Also, have you seen the garden ground monster? I want to know. Is this a real thing, or is this totally made up? I mean, it's also a Sasquatch. Like, there are Sasquatch reports in basically every forest in every part of North America. So it wouldn't be that surprising if there was something. And now it just finally has a specific name instead of being like, oh, that Bigfoot I saw. So, okay. Well, Katie, I appreciate your millennial reference. Because in millennial news and what the fuck is wrong with people news, Candace Cameron Bure, better known as DJ Tanner on Full House, believes that scary movies are portals for demons. This story comes to us from her recent podcast, where she claimed that she opened a portal by watching a scary movie. And now she claims that, quote, spiritual things have happened to her, although she doesn't really specify what any of those spiritual things are.
Yeah. I mean, I knew that Candace Cameron Bure, she also has a renewed fame as she's a staple on Hallmark movies, Hallmark Christmas movies in specifically, but like they make movies all year round now. But yes, okay. Yeah, she does that, and let me tell you, it's a lucrative career. But I did know that she was like super, super Christian. I did not know she was the type of Christian who thinks that all secular things are gonna make Satan come into your house. That is a very specific type of like evangelical Christianity that is truly wild. I have to tell a story so I went to a youth group growing up. Just in case listeners care, I'm no longer religious, but I did grow up religious. And it was like a pretty normal church, but our youth leaders were like, they like kind of went a little bit off the deep end into this realm of like evangelical Christianity while I was in youth group. There were a couple of years when I was like in high school where they were basically trying to make us stop listening to secular music. And they also, as part of this, like 1 year, they tried to like make Halloween bad. And so they were like telling us that like celebrating Halloween was bad, that we should come. They wanted to like do something at the church on Halloween so that we would all go to church and do youth group things on Halloween instead of like doing Halloween things. As part of this, they thought about doing like a haunted house at the church. But I don't know if y'all know about this. I need to look it up. I'm going to look it up live as we're talking about it. But in Texas, there is a very famous Hell House. That's what it's called. It's at the Trinity Church in Cedar Hill, Texas.
What?
It's called Hell House. It's a Christian-themed haunted house that uses scare tactics. I'm reading from the AI overview from Google. That uses scare tactics to illustrate the consequences of sin and the importance of accepting Jesus Christ. This event, which began in 1990, has gained notoriety for its graphic depictions of sin and its use of theatrical and scare tactics. So,
whoa.
Fun.
Yes.
What?
So basically, it's like literally you have like teenagers in a scary hospital room acting out an abortion. So it's like,
God.
yes, that's like one of the rooms, but it's like all different kinds of rooms like that. And DJ Tanner, Candace Cameron Bure, these types of Christians like do exist. And I don't want to lump everyone in because there's lots of Christians who would not subscribe to this kind of stuff. But like these are the type of people like Candace Cameron Bure who are going around saying like, oh, if you watch a scary movie, the devil's going to come and get you. If you read Harry Potter, you're participating in witchcraft and you shouldn't read it because that's the devil. That kind of stuff definitely exists. It's totally bonkers. Girl, watch a scary movie if you want to. Also, if she thought that, why did she watch a scary movie in the first place? She said that she watched it. Because I read the article, she was saying, oh, I don't let anyone watch scary movies in my house. But girl, then why did you? Why did you watch a scary movie? And then the portal came in. Like, it's all dumb, but you did this to yourself.
I think she was so scared by how much she enjoyed it. And she was like, oh, it's sinful that I'm enjoying this so much. It's no longer allowed in my house. Anything that brings joy to people like that, they have to be like, no, it's sin. I can't enjoy it. Nope.
Man.
Must be evil.
This is blowing my mind, by the way, that I
Hell
never
House?
knew. Yeah, that there was a Christian haunted house. That's fucking crazy.
A famous one. Like,
Yeah, it has been around for decades at this point.
has been around
right?
for decades, but also like was a big deal. Like a lot of people went to it.
Man.
It's really sad.
Look, I work in the film industry. I've worked on horror movies before. There is nothing there is nothing satanic about making a horror movie. The most demonic thing I've ever seen on a film set was a tray of Wawa hoagies that was left out after a 12-hour day. There's nothing else.
Oh, man.
That's interesting, Matt. So all of these, like, because there have been a couple Ghost Adventures episodes about like things going wrong on film sets. For example, like Amityville Horror or other ones. So you say no.
Well, there was just so Ghost Adventures in their most recent season just did
Poltergeist house.
They went to the Poltergeist.
Oh, that's
house,
right. That's
which
what I'm
is-
thinking of.
Which is funny because like nothing actually there were no deaths or anything associated with the Poltergeist house anyway. I believe there were like deaths around the movie series, but they didn't happen in the house. So I don't know why that's a bad thing anyway. But that's neither here nor there.
Because they were cursed.
Whatever.
The movie cursed them. Just like Candace Cameron Bure is saying that like the movie is going to curse her house.
But no, I mean, like, shit. The funny thing is, like, there are a lot of technical things that are on a film set that have to happen on a film set. And shit goes wrong on film sets all the time just because you have a bunch of people and a bunch of things that can go wrong. You know? It always cracks me up when people are doing paranormal investigations and they have their cameras or their devices out. And they're like, oh, man, the battery just died. Dude. It just went from something to absolutely zero. I'm like, dude, that happens at least once a day on a set, that there's some battery that you thought it was fully charged, or it's a battery that you've had for like 2 years that's been working pretty well for a while, and it just happened to be that day that it finally crapped out. But no way, man. I have batteries die without warning all the fucking time on sets. Doesn't mean that there are ghosts, just means that battery tech kind of sucks.
I'm just kind of stuck. I didn't know this about DJ Tanner, and my God, she must have been a killjoy. I'm sorry. She must have been a killjoy on the set of Full House.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, was she Christian
I don't know
then?
that she was like that when she was a kid. This might be an adult found hyper faith. Like maybe she
Have mercy.
believed in God or whatever. Have mercy is right. This is the Millennial Quotes episode.
Yeah, get it. This is it. All you youngsters need to do your research and watch some Full House to know what it's really like to come home after school and watch some reruns with no parents around.
Oh my God.
Watching Step by Step, Full House, Family Matters. That was my
And
rotation.
commercials.
And you had to watch commercials. You couldn't skip them.
Well, unless
times.
you had unless you recorded it on your VHS, and then you could fast forward through the commercials, and then you had to hit play at exactly the right moment. Otherwise, you'd go too far into the episode and have to rewind.
Yeah.
And you had to get your snack breaks. Like if you were in the kitchen getting your snack and the show came back on, you had to book it because there
really
was no stopping. You either had to stop getting your snack or you had to miss some of the show. That was your choice.
Yep.
Yeah. It was hard life.
We were basically the pioneers.
We basically were.
I think that's all I have to say about DJ Tanner. I don't know if anyone else has things they'd want to say.
I will also just add that she works for the Great American Family. I don't know if it's called network or whatever, but it's a network of, if you want to take Hallmark Channel and like give it steroids, Christian steroids, that's basically it. It is. I went and visited it and I watched a couple of clips from the stuff that they do. I'll just say it's very white.
Yeah.
It's very white.
Yeah.
And it's so sentimental and terrible and just, I'm sorry, but she says that she's in the film industry. And I'm like, if that's the film industry, then I'm a New York Times bestselling author.
It's not that channel, obviously. Hallmark does have some very Christian themed Christmas movies. They've gotten less so and they've branched out now that it's like blown up and everybody watches them. But they're like, if you go back into the archives, there's a lot of like angels and stuff like that.
Yeah. Did you ever have to watch Touched by an Angel, Katie?
I am sure that I did. I don't remember it, but I'm sure that we did. The Waltons was a big fixture in my house.
Oh, no, we missed that. Yeah.
You don't know the Waltons?
No.
Oh, I mean, no. I know the Waltons. Just to have the Waltons be a big fixture in your house. That was why I made that face.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we watched a lot of the Waltons growing up.
Okay.
I can name all 7 of the Walton children.
I don't think I could name a single Walton episode or a child. The only Walton that I know that I can name is Travis Walton, who was abducted by aliens and that was turned into the movie Fire in the Sky. But I don't think that was one of the Waltons on the Waltons, unless that was a very special episode at some point.
He didn't live on Walton's Mountain.
He was like the gummo of the Waltons. I didn't know it was a Christian show or Christian-like.
Yeah, it wasn't Christian. I mean, they were religious, but like it wasn't. No, it was about a family. It's true story. The guy, the oldest son in the family is like it was based on like his memoirs or something like that. But it's about a family growing up in the Great Depression in the Blue Ridge Mountains.
Oh, that sounds kind of fascinating, actually.
But it's like very, very, very sweet, very wholesome.
It's definitely network television level, just sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, some crazy stuff does happen in it, though. Like, there's one episode where they're like, it's during the run-up to World War II, and someone comes to the town who basically is like spouting Nazi propaganda, or maybe he's like super religious. I forget exactly, but he wants to burn books. And they actually he riles everybody up and they're having this bonfire and they're burning books. And like John Boy, he's the oldest son, he gives this impassioned speech about how like this is terrible and like, you know, books are good. He's a writer. He's very literary and like that books are good and they shouldn't be doing this. And like, what are they doing and who are they becoming? And like, so like they do try to deal with some things, but
wow, that's really great. But not always. Okay. All right.
All right. I wouldn't say it's not great. There's 2 old ladies that are rich old ladies that make moonshine. I mean, like, so
it's cute.
There's a lot of characters.
Yeah.
I would recommend you try to watch it. I think that you're going to find it so saccharine sweet that you're going to be like, what is this? And Katie watched this all the time when she was a child.
It's okay, Katie. I watched Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. I watched Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oh my God.
Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman was
Did you like Sully?
I loved Sully. I loved Sully. I loved his little outfits and
So handsome.
so handsome. Dr. Quinn and Sully, man, that was a cute couple.
Dr. Quinn was boring to me.
It was boring. It was very saccharine.
My parents watched that show, and I was just kind of like,
Oh yeah, no, it really didn't offer anything to the world, but it did have Sully in it, so he was cute.
Anyway, that's our trip down memory lane.
Millennial
Bye, DJ
time.
Tanner.
Bye, DJ Tanner.
Some of that will make it in.
Yeah.
All of it will make it in. If I don't hear about Sully on this episode, I'm going to be mad, Matt.
Yeah, we are not approving the cut. If you send it to us and it's cut in any way.
And in our final news item, there is a new update on the attempted assassination of Aaron Goodwin, ghost adventurer. His former wife, Victoria Goodwin, has been sentenced. She'll be serving 3 to 7.5 years for plotting to kill her husband with a hired hitman. Aaron broke down in court, which is really, really sad to see. And apparently he now has a security detail because of course, he doesn't feel safe anywhere. So I just feel so bad for him.
I'm really angry. I'm just so angry. And like she had this like strange emotional affair with this guy who looks like a used lollipop that you find in the bottom of a car. Like
He does.
He
looks
terrible.
like low rent Stephen Miller.
Yeah, whoa, that is saying a lot. Yes. And like, dude, you had Aaron Goodwin as your husband. You
No.
idiot.
Yeah.
He's
And
so
that sweet picture of them from February, like she was plotting his death and they took that sweet photo. Like, what a lying. What a lying. I want to say a bad word. I'm not going to.
You can
What
say
a
bad words.
lying liar.
We curse on this podcast all the time. It's fine.
No, I was going to call her a B word and I don't really like to do that.
Yeah.
But I just like what an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
You don't know what you got till it's gone. I bet she feels so bad about it, but not really. Because she probably feels bad about being caught.
Yeah,
She's like, I got caught.
She feels bad about prison.
pissed.
I don't know that she feels bad about Aaron. Poor
Those are
Aaron.
crocodile tears, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. She said she got like caught up in the wrong people, but I'm like, how? What? Like, we have not heard enough from her for me to like truly believe that she somehow was like in a bad place and got brainwashed and misled. Like, it doesn't, no.
Honey.
Right.
Part of me thinks this was in you all along and I'm mad about it.
Yes, I know.
Like
same.
gold digger or something. Like
Yes.
she thought that this was, I don't know.
Just leave him. Just divorce him.
She does seem like a gold digger type.
You don't have
knowing
to
nothing.
kill him. I don't know who the hell. How do you get quote caught up? You get caught up so much that you plot his murder. It wasn't even a crime of passion.
No, and it didn't even seem like she disliked him that much. And obviously, let's just assume he's going to downplay maybe their relationship wasn't that great or whatever.
Sure.
But like in making sense of it for himself, he would be like, wow, like our relationship was really bad. We did fight a lot, but I never thought that it was like this, right? Or that she would think something like this. But he hasn't said anything like that. He thought he was in a relatively happy relationship. So like, what in the actual fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
It's like chilling. Yeah. It's more chilling than any haunted house that Aaron has been in. That is for sure.
I know.
100%.
Dear Aaron. Again, I know we talk about this case a lot, and this will probably be the last time because she's going to be put away.
I think this is probably the end of it.
I kind of wish she actually didn't take the plea deal and she went to court and she went away for a very, very long time because she just seems like just for Aaron's peace of mind, I want to see her like not allowed out again. But poor Aaron. I hope he finds love again if he wants it.
Yeah.
I hope that he finds peace and safety. He is hands down my favorite person on Ghost Adventures. He always has been. And he is gotta be he just seems like the sweetest guy. I don't know him, but he just exudes positivity and gentleness.
Yeah.
And I am not throwing my hat in the ring, because I'm married. But if I wasn't, no, I'm just kidding.
I mean,
you wouldn't blame me, right, Matt?
No, if there was an opportunity, so this is Aaron Goodwin, in case you're listening, if there was an opportunity, I don't know that I could stand between your love for EJ if it was reciprocated.
Exactly.
So.
I mean, I think what we're breaking news on this, y'all, like that Aaron Goodwin is on EJ's hall pass list.
I love him for his sense of humor. He always has snacks in his pocket. That got me.
I appreciate that. That's a man who's prepared.
He's well prepared. Exactly. Yeah. I just feel so bad for him. And like, also, I just don't know what is up with that woman, except that she seems, there's just been no real explanation, I feel like, for her behavior.
I know.
I don't know.
It's very mysterious.
I'm surprised she even got a plea deal. Like, I guess that's sort of always on the table. If you just admit to something, they'll like let you off a little bit. But I feel like, I'm going to say something a little spicy. I feel like if she had not been a pretty white woman, I don't know that she would have gotten the same plea deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you're probably right on that.
Conspiring with someone inside a prison to murder someone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, the conspirator is white. It all kind of helps make things a little bit easier for everybody.
Little bit of hypocrisy affluence there. Yeah, for sure.
Also, like, do you get you only get 3 to 7 years for conspiring to murder someone?
Apparently, yeah.
What does
Like,
bargain bin Stephen Miller get?
That's a good question, too.
Oh, yeah. Is he getting extra time onto his sentence? I mean, that has to be bad behavior, right? Like,
yeah.
I hope that the other Ghost Adventures guys are there for Aaron in his time of need.
I think they
think so. They seem like real bros.
Yeah.
And I hope Discovery, if you're listening, Disney, Warner Brothers, whoever the fuck owns you right now, I forget, you are going to, cough up some cash to keep your main guy safe on his shoots and things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he's not having to pay for all of this out of his own pocket, is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope not too. All right, is that it? So I like how we went from like conspiracy theories, cryptids, to millennial TMZ corner.
We really did.
I really love it.
Uh-huh.
I feel like this is a good... It was a lot of twists and turns in this episode.
Surprise, guys. This is turning into a TMZ podcast.
Yeah. This is our official announcement. Yeah.
Well, this is all because... Well, no, I can't even say that it's all because of the Aaron Goodwin story. Because of DJ Tanner, who fucking everything up, man.
And whatever you do, Matt, when you're editing, do not cut it out.
Wow. Great. Amazing.
We're making Matt's life suck right now.
We really are. He's going to be so pissed.
So anyway, I did get one listener email. This is in response to our Bangar series, where we were talking about leaving offerings of cigarettes and tobacco and alcohol at the temples. And this listener says, the offering of cigarettes was significant for the tobacco, not the actual cigarette, and notes that Native Americans believe tobacco is a gift from the gods and smoke carries prayers and blessings.
Interesting.
Now, I mean, I don't know about that in Hindu culture specifically, but it's interesting to see that that's the association here is not the cigarette itself, but is the actual tobacco, which was sort of a holy plant. So a gift from the gods.
Okay.
So, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And if you want to weigh in on what we've said, and I know that you do, slayingmonsterspodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what's on your mind when it comes to all of these news stories and our millennial TMZ corner. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for listening. If you feeling generous, you can always head over to slayingmonsterspodcast.com, click on the support us button at the top of the page, and there you can leave us a donation or become a member. There's also a chance to pick up some cool looking merch there too. So check that out as well. Anything else?
No.
Okay.
No, I got no more quotes, so we're good.
Great.
Oh, I do have a quote, actually.
What's that?
That's amazing. I can't believe I almost forgot. All right.
Oh, yeah.
This is from Voltaire, and we will end with this. Those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities.
That's wonderful. That's very appropriate for our current series about Nazi occultism and Declock. I like it. Wonderful.
So there you go, folks. All right.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. Be safe out there.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Slaying Monsters, the Fortean History Podcast. If you like the podcast, there's a couple ways you can show your support. You can tell your friends, you can leave us a rating and review on your podcast platform, or you can head over to slayingmonsterspodcast.com and click on the Support Us button to leave a donation. For questions, suggestions, and other feedback, reach out to us, slayingmonsterspodcast@gmail.com, and stay up to date by following us on socials at Slaying Monsters Podcast. Your support helps us grow, and we are truly grateful to have our listeners and community.